Well, hello, and welcome back to the tower. I actually wanted to do this earlier, but now it's later. So whatever, we're doing it at this time, just so I can I wanted to, I don't know. I don't know what I wanted. Well, I did want to do this, at a different time. That is one thing I wanted. So we did achieve one goal. I wanted to do it a little earlier than this. But, you know, sometimes life gets in the way. And I'm not, I don't know what to say. Obviously. I am not happy with some things in my life. But, it's what I always tell you guys. What have I told you? Focus on what you can control and not what you can't control. And the thing is, the things I'm upset about are things 100% out of my control. So I just need to try and remember that. And remember that all you can do is accept it. Because unfortunately, for my scenario, there's nothing I can do. Hey Trash, how you doing? Yeah, well, it's a long story. Let's just say, Trash, I wasn't really feeling great this week, mentally, and I didn't know if I wanted to stream or not, but I want to just go ahead and get the stream out. Hey, Sar, how you doing? No, it's not Maria. Maria is far more logical than the people I'm dealing with. And unfortunately, that's what kills me. It's all illogical. Illogical and unnecessary and irrelevant. But... No. It is just someone, Sar, I'm forced to deal with that I wish I didn't have to deal with, is probably the best way to put it. And you can derive what type of relationship that is on your own. I don't really want to go into too many details because, unfortunately, it's not like a good thing. So it's a bad thing. So I don't really want to, It's just like anything. It's a process. And like I said, focus on what you can control, not what you can't control. And what I can control is how I feel about the situation. So the reality is I just need to disconnect. Fortunately, I'm generally pretty good at disconnecting because, I don't really have another option in this scenario, so. But usually I like to think of myself as a guy that can disconnect pretty well. Because at the end of the day... Okay, I didn't get everybody. Oh wait, no, almost. Yes. But at the end of the day, it's just like... I can't, I can't change the situation, right? I can't modify it. I can't... You can't reason someone into something they didn't reason themselves into, So, since I have no control... Hey, Virus, how you doing? Since I have no control over the situation, I just need to let it go. I don't really like saying it quite that way, but I don't have a choice. But, the good thing is, the sooner I realize... Because I was in a similar situation to this, similar-ish situation to this before, where I was trying to help a friend who wouldn't help herself, and wouldn't make the right choices, and I felt really bad. Yeah, we're doing the tournament, Little Tower's in the tournament right now. I'm going to go ahead and kick off Tower 4. I have to kind of space the other towers out, because I don't want them all to get stuck in the same bracket. And it was I don't want to say too many details, but it was like between her and her significant other, and I was and like I didn't know what to do because I don't, I generally like avoid having interpersonal relationships with people for the most part, because unless you find someone who shares your values, it generally just becomes an exercise in frustration. Like, it just does. And I try to avoid being frustrated. I feel like the real world is frustrating enough. So I try to minimize frustration, which generally means I do a lot of things alone, which I don't really care about. There's certain things I miss doing, but that's, I think a lot of it is just being older. Let's get started on our tournament. We can get started here. But yeah, I went through this situation with somebody else, and they were telling me all kind of things about our friendship, and like, it was so weird because it felt like really surreal to me when I was going through this. And then I looked back, and then like I had to, like, obviously the conversation ended at some point, and then once the conversation ended, I was like, okay, they said all these things that happened. How true were those? And I had to go back and reassess the situation without being in the conversation with them. And I don't believe they meant to, like, mislead the situation, but their retelling of the situation and my memory of the situation became two very different things. And I think a lot of that was because of the stress of the situation that they were under currently. Oh, that's me. Yeah, no, we don't want to do that. So, those kind of things happen. Regardless, like, at the end of the day, I did nothing. And I felt really, 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 really guilty about it because they needed help. And then I read a bunch of stuff from other support sites, and they say, well, don't ever feel guilty about not being able to do something, because at the end of the day, they have to make the choice on what they want to do. And, yeah, you can't make them make the choice. And so I was like, oh, okay, well. It was sort of weird, because it was like, wow, that's... Like, it feels like that's like a lazy solution to the problem, which is why it felt so weird for me. But you know what? It worked out in the end. I don't have to deal with the problem anymore. I still feel bad about it. I feel like I should have done more, but, there's only so much of me. And it was nice to at least have somebody else, this was like the national website about something. It was nice to read from somebody else that said, like, you don't control other people, you can't make them do things, and you don't have to save everybody. And I'm like, cool. That seems really lazy, but I like it. And then, they got mad at me, and then they just stopped talking to me. And it was weird, too, because they would get mad if I was talking on the phone with other people, and I'm like, what? Like, I don't just sit around and wait for your phone calls. It was a very odd situation. It was a very uncomfortable situation, too. Probably the most uncomfortable situation I've been in, because I understood what they wanted to do. And I was like, I don't want you to use me to do that. No, I wouldn't say that. They weren't a bad person, but they were in a bad situation. Really? Alright. And when you're in a bad situation, sometimes people get desperate to get out of the situation. And so, like, I would never fault her for what she said or did, because she was just in a really bad situation and looking to anybody for help. Unfortunately, she found me, and I'm not really good help. Well, I guess I don't have to do the trick. I think what she wanted was for me to rush and try and play hero, and I'm like, let me assess the situation. But you could do these other things that don't involve me saving you. Oh, you don't want to do those? Oh. And then, like, it wasn't like I was even trying to avoid her. She would just call me, and I'd be doing stuff with some of my friends. And I'd be like, hey, I can't talk right now. Can we talk later? And, like, I would end up just, like, doing stuff with my friends in Discord for a while. And then, like, and then she would get upset that I didn't call her back. And I'd be like, look, I just, like, I don't sit around just do... Like, it's sort of weird that people feel like, what, like, do I just sit around and wait for you to call me? No. It's a very difficult situation to navigate, too. Most situations involving other people, I've noticed, are difficult to navigate. I don't like that. Okay, so Tower 3 can go in now. It's going to be interesting to see if spacing them out makes it a little easier. And again, she was not a bad person. I think her heart was in the right place. But oh, really? I don't know how to put it into words, but there were certain complications that really made me hesitate. And it was so weird because I was really concerned about her situation. I'm not going to pretend about that. And but nope, I read a thing and it was like, yeah, you don't have to save everybody. If you can't, you can't. You know, I'm like, oh, wow, this seems really lazy. It seemed to me like it was, wrong for me to do nothing. But the professional association was like, you don't have to save everybody, and you don't need to feel guilty if you feel like you can't do it. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, sometimes I wouldn't say I feel guilty. But sometimes I do wonder, what would the alternative be like? What if I was more willing to take a risk, right? What would that have led to? I don't really know that I would be happy or anything, or, but I do sort of wonder, like, what would the other option look like? But it's not my problem. Now, this other thing is my problem, but it's the same thing. I'm just gonna disconnect because, I don't know, disconnecting generally gets me the best results. I remember I used to infuriate one of my exes because, like, we would have a fight, and then I just wouldn't say anything, and they would say something to me, and I would be like, oh, well, I don't know. I just got into this habit. I don't even know where I picked this strategy up, where, like, okay, I upset you. Clearly I don't know how to not upset you. So I'm just gonna not, like, say anything ridiculous. And, yeah. And that strategy was, let me tell you, that strategy was, like, super effective. It was probably the most effective strategy I've ever used. It was very frustrating for her because she absolutely hated it, but I wasn't concerned about her. I was concerned about me. What are we looking like here? Okay, that's full. We'll get Tower 5 in here now. We gotta keep an eye on Tower 4. Tower 4 is gonna... Oh, can we get the Shatter first? Can we get the Shatter? Yes, we got the Shatter. Okay. I don't really know if that was worth it, but I wanted to see the Shatter die. I think a lot of why I disconnect too is because, like, I'm a very results-orientated person. And if disconnecting and being connected end up getting me the same result anyways, and disconnecting is easier, like, why do the other thing? I mean, it is boring. But it's like, yeah, okay, if I'm not going to get a good result this way, I might as well just give up and not try and get a result at all. Which does seem weird. But it's like one of those things like I learned about life a long time ago. How you perceive things is reality or whatever. There's a better saying than that. Like how you perceive things and how you feel about life really dictates more how life is than how you objectively feel things. So that was always interesting. Which is why it's just like, for this situation I'm in, I'm like, well, it'd be best for me to just accept it and move on and just leave, you know, leave it alone. Because I don't know, I quit a lot. But mostly I quit people a lot. Because I can just see where things are going. Like the situation I'm in now, I've been in this situation off and on for like 10 years, right? And no matter what I said or I've done, I haven't been able to resolve the situation in a acceptable manner. And so I actually, like, disengaged for a long time with the situation because it was like, all right, this doesn't work for me. You know, why am I doing this? You know? And, you know, like my thing is, like, I can't control the situation. I can't control people. Like, you know? I will say, one of my friends says, it's how you talk to people. They don't like how you talk to them. And it's like, It's very difficult for me to sugarcoat something when the rationale is obvious. I just can't play those, Well, I can, but it's very difficult. Because I prefer the direct result. Hey, Calidus, how you doing? We're doing the tournament. It's sort of a weird time. This is not my usual time, but as I was explaining to everybody, there's some things going on. And I was like, I'll just do it now. Oh, I almost forgot. We need to get some cards. I am the bluntest, most straightforward, this is what I want to happen person you'll ever meet. Because I'm not going to try and... I'm not patient enough to try and trick you into doing what I want you to do. I'm alright. But I am willing to say, this is what I want. I'm very much a my way or the highway kind of guy. I want it done this way. You don't want to do it this way? That's fine. See ya. And, I don't feel bad about being that way or anything, because it's like, I'm not going to deal with the aggravation if you're not going to do it how I want. If you don't want to do it how I want, that's fine. I'm not really that invested in this relationship. Goodbye. Let's see. Yeah, I don't have time to be fake. Honestly, it's not even that I don't have time to be fake. I've just known. I don't really do compromise, Calla. I don't really do compromise. That is actually one of my weaknesses. There's only one person in my life I've ever compromised for. And unfortunately, they're no longer alive. And, some of the things, I can't really compromise on anyways. This situation, I do actually have, I do have a compromise in this situation, but they won't even meet the compromise. Yeah, there's only one person in my life I've ever compromised. Really felt like I compromised with. Only one person ever. Because most of the time, it's these are the terms and conditions of interacting with me. Oh, you don't want to meet the terms and conditions? Okay, we don't have to interact. See ya. But I'm a pretty cold-hearted person. I do have the Christmas truce because I just can't deal with that hassle. I just don't understand how so many people complain about gifts and all this stuff around Christmas, and it's you could just have a truce for Christmas and just, not have to deal with it. I also have a hard time, because I drew 2 extra cards just to get it all the way. I also have a hard time, because the things I feel like I'm asking for, I don't think I feel like I'm asking for something, so extreme, It's not like I'm asking you to speak a new language or something like that. So I don't feel like I'm getting to, oh, well, you really should have a problem with this because I'm asking you to change the language you speak to me in. But on the same token, I am pretty uncompromising. I wouldn't say I'm demanding, but I'm demanding that you do things the way I want you to do them. I don't have time for malarkey. Okay, oh, I got my 80 cards. Okay, that's good, we got that. We have 2 more coming in. I don't know that I'll mess with doing the rest of these. Well, so Cal, I'm speaking really vague because I don't want to get into the situation. I don't want to get into the situation, Cal, because I have no control over the situation. And it's an uncomfortable situation to talk about. At least it's uncomfortable for me. So that's why I'm speaking in platitudes. And I can say this much. I would be asking somebody I know to make a lifestyle modification that makes logical sense. And by logical sense, I of course mean the most important kind of sense, financial sense. And again, I feel, I will say this. I lack perspective. I lack perspective because to me, the answers are always so clear. You make a spreadsheet, you put the dollar values in the spreadsheet, you do a bunch of calculations, boom. Oh, damn it, I didn't pop demon mode. So I'm 0 for 1. And, when you do that, and you remove your emotions from the situation, you make the better decision. Which is why any decision I make, I'm not even kidding. I was considering switching internet providers. I sat down. I don't want to do this emotionally because I got a good offer. Open up Excel. It's decision time. I type in all the costs. I annualize it over a year. Do a bunch of math. And then make the decision. That's how I decide any major decision in my life. I bust out Excel. Well, or really Google Sheets. I've been using Google Sheets more than Excel, but it's all the same thing. I bust it out, put a bunch of numbers in a spreadsheet, sit down, and really weigh my options for the most part. I'm sure there are times I have not done that, and I have made an irresponsible decision. But for the most part, that's how I do most of the decisions in my life. Because I want to remove the emotion from it and only look at it logically. Because emotions are bad and should be hated. Oh no, you can get anything. It can be a little more. The thing is, what's with people, what happens is, it's not objective, right? It's not as objective because it's harder to derive metrics, right? So it becomes more subjective. But that just means the more subjective something is, because you're feeling like when you're angry, right? At least my anger meter, it's not like I'm 900 out of 1,000 angry at somebody. If I was, that's easy to put in a spreadsheet, right? Because you just say, okay, this person makes me a 900 angry, and okay, well, I can work with a 900 out of 1,000 angry because it's 90% angry. Foss, because I want to get the tournament done early. But I feel like emotional responses like that, it's much more subjective because there's a lot of things I've felt in life, the day of felt terrible. I go to sleep and the next day it's oh, that really wasn't as big a deal. Honestly. Oh, really? Oh, I got a harvest, huh? Well, damn. Now, granted, Cal, I do try to mitigate that because we'll see, Virus. I don't know. I don't know that I'm up for a second. I'll be honest. I don't know that I'm up for a second run. So I do kind of know, Cal, that based on that, I try to make my decisions. I actually got whiplash because I actually had it happen in reverse. Oh, well, whoops. Oh, oops. I actually had it happen in reverse, though. Where, the next day, I had a worse emotional response to the situation I was in than the day before, because it was so much going on that it was like it was so much information at once that I couldn't sort the information as quickly as I normally do, I guess, mentally. I don't really know how to put it that way. And so I was like... And then the next day, it hit me. But that's the only time. Most of the time, the next day, with anything I've been involved in, it's been like, oh, well, this is not nearly as significant or as important as I thought it was. Well, that's my fault for caring too much. And that's really what I believe the majority of my problems are, is I get too invested, so I need to disinvest, right? Because again, like, let's go back to the situation. I mean, I know I'm being vague. If I was less invested in the situation, I wouldn't be upset about the situation. It's the first time that's ever happened to me, so it was major. Well, I'll say probably the second time it's happened to me. But the other time it happened, I knew it was going to happen because I was, like, in shock. Like, I knew I was in shock of what happened. And, so I knew I was in shock, so, like, having it hit later made sense. But this is the first time I truly have been caught off guard by something like that. And just not... And part of it was because I was not prepared for what I saw. And then I wanted to change. Then, I went through basically the stages of grief, right? My first step was bargaining. Because I was trying to see if I could make a deal to change the situation. I was unable to make a deal. Oh, shoot, I missed again. I was unable to make a deal to change the situation. Fine. Then I got really angry about the situation. Like, angrier than... I don't know, I wouldn't say angrier than it was warranted, because it was my own personal anger. And I also got super upset. So after I was unable to bargain my way out of the situation, I got super upset. I was angry. I was frustrated. It was the most extreme emotional response I have had in a long time. I'll say this: I haven't had that extreme of an emotional response to a situation in probably 15 years. It's hard to say, I would say 14 to 15 years. It's a little fuzzy because I had something really bad happen to me 16-ish years ago. Oh, bargaining is denial is the first. What's the second stage then? Alright, well, I kind of skipped to bargaining. Well, to be fair... okay. Well, I did bargaining and anger kind of together. Which makes sense. Sorry, I got it backwards. So the funny thing was, I was in denial about the situation for a long time. Because I just disconnected from the situation. It wasn't the most conscious disconnection that I did. It was more like, hey Clouded, how you doing? It was more like, I am too busy with my stuff in my life and stuff like that to deal with this right now. So I was in denial, though, of how bad things had got for a long time. And it was mostly because, like, I'm busy with work and streaming and all this other stuff. I didn't get into the minutia of what was going on until recently. So, the denial stage was really long, right? You ever been, like, you know, casually in touch with somebody and, like, you don't really know what's going on, and then, like, maybe you do something together and you're like, holy shit, what the fuck changed? And I've had a few experiences like that, but this was by far the most shocking. Okay, so we're 0 for 2. We have 2 left. They both have wings. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So that's what happened. And so then, yeah, I wouldn't. The weird thing was, I wasn't angry. I wasn't as angry as I've been in my life. I was mostly, like, sad. So it's weird because... Oh, okay. Because like, I actually flipped the anger and depression. Because I got really sad first because I was sad that it was like a mix that I was sad that I was so unaware of how bad the situation was. And that I had lost control of the situation. Not that I ever had control of the situation, but you know what I mean. Like, the situation deteriorated so much that it was, like, even worse, right? And then, like, I did briefly make a bargaining attempt, but, of course, they would not take the bargain. But at least, you know, I at least threw the bargain on the table because at least I can say, hey, I made a legitimate attempt to try and resolve this situation in a way that's satisfactory to me, which was the importance of making the bargain. And then when oh, damn it, I'm over 3. And so, you know. But I did at least make it, and then I got really angry. And then like it was like the shock and sadness of the situation wore off, and then like the anger just started to boil through my veins. Which I will say, anger felt better than being sad. Anger at least, you know, felt better than being sad. I actually try not to get angry about things because, again, generally when you're angry about something, if you take 10 steps back, you're like, oh, I'm angry because I care way too much about this thing. I need to assess why I feel this way. I'm doing all right. I'm working through the stages of grief, Clouded. That's what it is, right? And I was watching myself go through this, and this all happened yesterday. I went from being upset, bargaining, being angry, and then at the end of the day, it's like, I think it was just I had to process so much information. Like, at the end of the day, what was going on was, I'm sitting here, wargaming every scenario out, and it's like, I lose, 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 dead end. I win, but the win was such a Pyrrhic victory that it wasn't worth the effort. Because even in the victory, I would still not get the result I wanted, right? There was one scenario I could think of where maybe, if all the cards lined up, I came out ahead. But the collateral damage to get to that point wasn't worth it. Well, it's more the collateral damage to get to that point would have destroyed the thing I was trying to create in the first place, right? It'd be like if I was trying to save the rainforest, and the only way I could do it was to bulldoze the rainforest. Well, okay, I had to bulldoze the land and then okay, well, we got control of the rainforest, but now I have to replant it, and that's like, like, I can't, like, even if I could replant it, right, it would never be the rainforest again. So it was like, well, we can't, even though that got me what I wanted, which would have been absolute and total victory and total domination over my opponent, the collateral damage I would do to what I was trying to get from my opponent would have just destroyed the thing. So I can't do that. And trust me, that thought in my head was like in my head for like 5 minutes before I realized taking it to this level, while it sounds good on paper, just creates the most no-win scenario you could ever imagine. At least I'm realistic, right? That's the important thing. At least I'm realistic. And I mean, so in the end, the hard part to accept is that in the end I lose. In the end I lose. Like, it's effectively a no-win scenario, and I'm no Captain Kirk, guys. So the only way, so when you are faced with a no-win scenario, the only way to win is not play the game. So I can sort of do that. Unfortunately, I wish I had something as cool as the Time Stone. The reality is, Cal, I am playing the game against people that play in a very predictable way, and that's why I know all the moves that are going to happen. And on top of that, I've been dealing with this situation for 10 years, and if it hasn't changed in 10 years, it's not going to change, right? If I've been unable to make a change in 10 years, it's just not going to happen. And it's not like I was actively trying for those 10 years, so don't think it was like that. It was more like I was hoping that things would which is kind of the passive way of doing it, but I was hoping that oh, right, we have this. Excuse me. I was hoping that I don't know how to say it. I was more observing the situation and hoping that things would trend in the direction that they would trend. Probably the best way to put it would be due to economic pressure, right? Because personally, the best way I've found to get people to do things is apply economic pressure to the situation. That's generally the most encouraging way I've ever been able to use to get people to change their behavior, is use economic pressure, either withholding or giving. And I was hoping that, like, by withdrawing from the situation as much as I could, that the economics of it would make things unfeasible. But there was only so much I could withdraw, unfortunately. But it is what it is. We live sometimes in unfortunate times. Oh, I need to use... I don't want to do it now, but I do... we might as well reroll. It is my Kobayashi Maru. That is exactly it, because it's a no-win scenario. Like, it's... And even if I took... And I can't even take the super scorched earth approach that I wish I could. Because that causes too much collateral damage, too. Like, there's two different levers I could pull, so... It's not that I expected to change it so much, Cal. It's that I had been gone and removed from the situation for so long that when I saw it, I saw how much worse it was. And it was very shocking to see that. Like, it was very shocking to see the situation degenerate even more. Even though I hadn't been as involved, like... And it was just hard. And it wasn't only the situation degenerated. It was, well, it was mostly the situation. So, like, it was just a lot of shock. And so I had, like, it was so overwhelming how much worse it got than what it was before that I wanted to try and do something to see if I could change it. Even if it was futile, because... I had an experience in my life where I felt like I should have said something and pushed for something, and I didn't. And to this day, I don't know why, because I'm pretty much a bull in a china shop. I'm not sure why I didn't push the issue as much. I wouldn't say I regret not pushing the issues, but I mean that's what I'm doing now to make sure, I'm basically... Oh, what do I need besides this song here? Oh, is it just recovery amount? Okay. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, if it was easy... I mean, here's the thing, Cal. If it was easy, I would already solved it. That's the thing. It's only the complex things in life that get you in these pickles. That's the whole problem. If it was... It's like I tell everybody, if it was easy, you would have already done it. Yeah, I know Kirk defeats it because he refuses to believe that a no-win scenario exists. And maybe there is a way to get around it, but I don't have a way right now. But that's also why I said, Cal, I'm no Captain Kirk. That's the whole problem, I'm not a Captain Kirk. I do have a last Hail Mary thing I'm going to attempt, but again, I don't expect it to change. The good news is, eventually, I know on a long enough time scale, the situation will resolve itself. So that is the thing I look forward to. That eventually, the situation will resolve. Oh, damn it. I am 0 for 4 today. I thought scheduling them at different times would mean I would catch somebody, but I caught none of them. I can't, Cal, because it involves people that watch my stream. Or at least know about my stream. Honestly, Cal, it's a lot less interesting than I'm probably making it sound with all the mystery, but it's interesting to me because I'm living it. I will say I've talked to other people about it because I'm so confused by the conclusion the other parties are drawing. Like, very confused. Oh, whoops, I want to do something first. Yeah, but it's like I said, I could win, but at what cost, right? Like, winning at that level of cost would just make things worse, unfortunately. As much fun it is to, like, fantasize about winning, I know that the collateral damage, even though I won, would be, like... And I actually got some pretty good advice today from someone that basically was like... They have no obligation to you. So because you have no obligation, there's no contract, there's no obligation. It's they can just say no, and there's like nothing you can do to improve this situation, right? It's like, Cal, if you and I were trying to negotiate at a deal, right? Like, let's say I really, really, really wanted to buy something from you. Okay? And you're, like, unwilling to sell it for any price. And it's like, there's no negotiating school that I can go to that can give me the negotiating skills to get you to sell something you don't want to sell, you know? I can try. Hey, Mohammed, how you doing? No, so as I said on Tuesday, I had to do the stream early on Tuesday because I had something going on the next day. It's actually, Cal, not that epic at all. That's the whole thing. Like, this isn't like some epic, like, I'm Hercules and I'm doing the 7 or 11 labors of Hercules. This is it is some mundane, boring, stupid shit. And that's why it's so frustrating. Because it's like, the answer is so clear and so obvious, like, why can't you do the simple thing? And, the best response I can come up with to describe it is, if they did the simple thing, they would have to acknowledge that the thing they were doing before was a problem, and it's much better to pretend that the behavior they're engaged in is not problematic, even though it is. Because, you know, I mean, that's what I don't understand. And again, it's not even anything exciting. It's not like I'm talking about, like, okay, it's my cousin Vinny and he's refusing to go to rehab because he has a meth addiction. Nope, it's even more boring than that. This is not like anything cool like intervention, right? Where like I'm trying to get my cousin Vinny, the heroin addict, to stop doing heroin. Which is kind of the other reason why it's like, oh, well, this is so stupid. Like, why am I... I mean, that's how most things go. I mean, that's how most things go in life, right? Most things in life are pretty... Especially when it comes to, like, interpersonal relationships like this. Where there's, like, a... I wouldn't even say... it's as binary as that, because there are shades to this that I'm willing to accept. You know, there's levels of commitment that I'm willing to accept. Unlike, say, with a drug like meth, like with meth, it's not like I can make a deal with somebody that I don't want to use meth to be like, well, you can use meth, but only on Fridays, right? So there is leeway. But leeway only matters if the other person's willing to negotiate too. Don't get me wrong, if I could get the most extreme response, I would take it. Probably the closest thing I can say, Cal, is, do you know somebody that has a really expensive hobby? And if you don't, I'll throw some out there. Like, it could be Magic the Gathering, it could be Warhammer, it could be anything like that. Yeah, but I'm talking about an immovable object who there's no... I realize that in the real world, it's more like everybody has a price. Hey, Warrior, how you doing? I mean, I don't... Oh, Warriors, and it's not... I'm not asking for... I mean, I would ask for perfection if I thought I could get it, right? So, like, going back to the really expensive hobby thing, right? Well, really expensive and all-consuming hobby, too, right? Because it's not just expensive, it's also all-consuming. And imagine you tried to say, well, why don't you put a budget around how much you invest in this hobby instead of spending all your money on this hobby? Right? Maybe you don't need to have every Magic card. And again, I'm using this as like a stand-in for the thing. And maybe your current situation is because of how much time and energy and money you spend on this hobby, and that your life would be a lot better if you weren't spending so much on this hobby. That's about as close as I would say. And so to me, the answer is clear. But to them, because the hobby has got such a grip on them, their perception is muddy. Their logic is illogical. And again, well, and again, if their behavior was only negatively impacting them, right? Like, let's say your friend who's obsessed with magic starts skipping work to play magic all the time, loses his job, gets evicted. If that trajectory, and it's not that extreme, the situation's not that extreme, but I'm making it extreme for fun, right? If that was the trajectory, and it didn't impact anybody else, I wouldn't care. I would be like, clearly I cannot talk you out of your magic addiction, so I will let you reap what you sow. In fact, I will enjoy seeing you homeless. Enjoy is not really the right word, but I guess, yes, enjoy is sort of the right word, but not really. It's more like, I will enjoy seeing you reap what you sow. Right? Like, I'm sure we've all seen that, where somebody does something that you think is detrimental, and you enjoy seeing the circle of consequences come back and get them, right? And it might not be enjoy, like, it depends on how much you like the person. Some people, it's just funny. You know, we all know that guy who buys, like, the nice car, soups it up, you know, shows it off, races it around, and then crashes it into the barrier, right? And so that's just funny, right? You got the car to drive reckless and drive like an asshole, and then you crash the car. And again, obviously there's levels of funny, right? Like, it's funnier if the only thing that's damaged is the car. It's not as funny if they damage the car and then, like, maybe they have, you know, permanent injury. That's not really that funny. That's just like, well, you know, sad, right? I mean, yes, the winning move is always for me to walk away without loss. I will still sustain some loss indirectly, because of the... So, like, this isn't just a first-party to first-party negotiation. If it was a first-party to first-party negotiation, I would just walk. I would have walked 10 years ago, right? I would have walked 10 years ago, been like, you know what? Your values are X, my values are Y. There's nothing wrong with your value system. It just doesn't mesh with mine. It's totally cool. World needs all kind of people. I just don't need you in my life, right? Very simple, straightforward thing. You know, not a big deal. It's that it's a first party to first party negotiation, and we share a connected third party. And that's what makes the negotiation difficult. There was not that connected third party. Oh man, I would be the happiest person in the world. Because then I could tell them how I really feel without consequence. And I would. But I mean, again, without the third party, there's no reason for me to even care at that level, right? Like, it would just be like, well, you do what you want to do. It doesn't matter, like, you know, it doesn't matter what you do now. Yeah, unfortunately, the third party like limits my ability to totally walk away. That's the problem, right? I care about the third. So that's the crux of the issue, is that their behavior is negatively impacting somebody that I care about, and it's harder for me to just walk away from that, right? I wish, trust me, I wish I could. Oh, you have no idea how much I wish I could just walk away from this and be like, you do you, man. I don't want to hear it when it goes south. In fact, I don't want to hear anything at all from you. You do what you want. Because I've had plenty of things like that. I've had plenty of things like that where it was like a friend I knew started doing stuff like I didn't want to do, and it was like, but I mean that's why like this kind of got to where it was, right? Because I basically hit that point before, and I just checked out because I'm like, you know what? I can't deal with the level of drama you create in this world. Hopefully, and I would do kind of things on the side to try and steer things into a direction I wanted them to go, right? It was more, I was trying to be a lot more hands-off. And again, I'm going to go back to being a lot more hands-off because obviously, what else can I do, right? And I was trying to think about how I could influence things the way I want to in a hands-off manner, right? It worked for a little bit and then didn't work in the end. Why? I don't know, but that's, you know, that's the risk you run into when you're, I forget what it's called, not directly involved. And that's what I just, you know, and that's part of where we're finally arriving is acceptance, where I have to accept that my ability to influence this situation is diminishing by the day. But there is a silver lining. And the silver lining is, and it's a sad silver lining, that realistically this situation on a long enough timeline will not last forever. So I only need to endure until the situation naturally dissolves, which is beautiful, but sad. But you know, it's one of those things. It's harder to be patient because the situation, you know, you're not in control of the situation. Whereas if I'm in control of the situation, I can be very patient. But yeah, pretty much the issue is the other side is unwilling to sell. Also, the other side lies a lot. Lies and hides information, which again makes understanding the situation more difficult. You know, lying and hiding just make, in my opinion, just make everything worse. And it's usually lying by omission. So, like, I don't know something or something is going on, and then I find out later that it's been going on, and that it's been going on longer than I thought. And I was like, Why are you involved in this? And of course, the lying by omission exists because they're ashamed of the behavior they're engaging in. That's fundamentally what I believe. Is that they don't want to talk about it because they are unwilling to bear the burden of the consequences for their behavior. Because, like, let me tell you something. If I was in the other situation, like, if the situation was reversed, I would have no problem with stating exactly what I was doing. But that's more with, like, my personality, right? I don't feel like there's really an advantage to... I guess it's not really about advantages as much as I feel like it's a, like, kind of cowardice to do something controversial and not be willing to stand by it. Like, I'll give you a completely unrelated example. Is I knew somebody that he wanted to lower his car insurance, okay? So what he was going to do is he was going to get married to just anybody, which was sort of odd, for the cheaper car insurance because he was tired of paying so much for car insurance. So he does this, but he hides it from his parents. And yes, this literally happened. I knew a guy that did this. Trust me, the marriage didn't last. They got divorced like within 6 months or something like that. And my problem was not that they got married. My problem was not even that they got married to reduce their car insurance. My problem was, if you're going to get married and do something like that, you should fully commit to the bit, right? Like, if I was in, like let's say the situation was I was really into magic and people thought I was spending way much on magic, I would simply be like, nope, I'm, you know. Yeah, see. The unfortunate reality is the only thing I control in this situation is my level of engagement, right? My level of engagement with the situation is really the only thing I control. So, the only leverage I have is to disconnect. And that leverage is really not even that good, because a disconnection also is like a passive endorsement of the behavior I don't like, right? Which is sort of where, like, a lot of the frustration comes. It's like, I disconnected before, the behavior got worse. It got actually so bad I was shocked by how bad it was. I was shocked by the priorities being so out of whack. I wouldn't say I'm shocked by the doublespeak, but the fact that doublespeak exists is annoying. Like, if I was a true champion, if I was true and ruthless, I would walk away and never talk to any of these people again and just be like, have a nice life. If I was a true, cold-hearted, smart person, completely devoid of all emotion, I would do that. I would just be like, unfortunately, our engagement on this matter is not aligned, and our lack of alignment means I need to disengage from the situation. I wish you a nice life. And I would just walk. And if I was that level of cold-hearted, everything would be so beautiful because it wouldn't matter. It would be, you made your choice, I'm making mine, you know? And it would be so, in a way, it would be so beautiful to be that ruthless. I don't even mean ruthless in a mean way. I just mean just, like, that indifferent. To just be like, yeah, okay, you do you. Alright, well, look. You do what you want to do. I don't want to be around for it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear about it. Bye. That would be so badass. Yeah, we'll see. I do wish I was that much of a badass, to be honest. Because you walk away like that, nobody ever gets your goat. You never find yourself in a situation where you are not in total control because you're always willing to just walk. One day I'll be there. One day. That is what I try to stay positive about, right? Is like, this situation will not last forever. Eventually this situation is going to have a resolution. It's not going to, part of the resolution is not going to be a resolution that I like, but there will be a resolution. And also, the reality is, nothing in life is certain. There's a million variables that could change at any time. And even the most hopeless people sometimes make the right choice eventually. Even the worst drug addicts eventually stop using drugs. But the thing is, change has to come from them. I cannot change them. I can only observe. Well, now I'm getting sleepy. Oh, you know what? Let's do some cards. I will say this. I do dislike that all the situations I've ever found myself in life, the answer's always been the obvious answer, just disconnect. Like, there's never really been an alternative solution where I got the better result other than just walking away. Which is weird. It's weird to say that. But everything, it's always been like... And that's why I'm not actually big on, like, revenge, right? I noticed at a young age that as much as I wanted to get this, like, perfect revenge on somebody, every time I saw someone execute, like, this perfect revenge plan, it always was, the amount of effort that went into the revenge was less than just getting over it and leaving. And that's why I truly believe the best revenge is living well. Just, you know, pack it in and go live well, and that's way better revenge than anything you could possibly do to somebody. Unless, the only exception is unless you're already really, 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 really rich. And mostly, the thing is, I remember reading that because there was this story about this guy. It was a fictional story, obviously, and it was about the Penguin and some guy. And it talked about how what the Penguin did, he hated this guy so much, he bought his company. He then forced him to work overtime. He forced him to work so much overtime it destroyed his marriage. And then he somehow caused his wife, like, obviously he didn't directly cause his wife to cheat on him, but he indirectly caused it by introducing the guy's wife to all these other guys while he's working all this time. And then it was like he did something like bought the apartment complex next door, or the building next door to his house or whatever, and started renovating it as loud as legally possible all the time. It was absolutely bonkers, this whole story. And I'm like, wow, that, like, revenge sounds, like, amazing. I presuppose my value of engagement because of the emotional amount I'm invested in, right? If I was emotionally uninvested, my amount of engagement could go up because I just wouldn't be emotionally invested in it, which makes it easier. The unfortunate part is I am emotionally invested in it, thus the engagement that I do invokes this very strong emotional response, and thus I find that emotional response intolerable. That's really the driver for disengaging for me, is because the emotional response I receive from being involved in it and the roller coaster of emotions it puts me on is simply not worth just disconnecting. Like, disconnecting, walking away, and losing, even though I don't really want to lose, is more emotionally stable than being involved in the ongoing change and situation. So it's really more the wanting to get, and then you could say, well, that just means you aren't emotionally regulating yourself, and you're right. And you're right, and that means I'm too invested in the outcome of the situation to make a tactical attack. And that's why I disengage as well, because I'm too invested. I'm too emotionally invested to engage with this tactically. Which is what makes it so difficult, right? Any other thing, you know, business deal, something like that, it's so simple. It's so simple. This... But that's why I presuppose the value of my engagement, because I know how much it bothers me, right? I wouldn't have had the response I had if I was not really invested in it. I do wish I was less invested in it. You know, I do wish I was, like, more indifferent to everything in general. I mean, I'm pretty indifferent to a lot of things. I wish I was more indifferent. I found like the best way to go through life is just to be as indifferent to as many things as possible. And I guarantee you somebody's going to say, oh my god, that's terrible. If you're indifferent to everything, you care about nothing. But the beauty about being indifferent to everything is if you're indifferent to everything, nothing gets you. Everything becomes like water flowing off a duck's back. Because you're so disentangled from everything that nothing matters. And if nothing matters, you always win. Which is weird to say it that way. I want to draw some cards, because the other little towers, or the baby towers, need to get their cards. I do appreciate you guys just letting me sound off here. That's why I ended up streaming. I'm like, well, you know, at the very least, I can just be the old man that yells at the clouds for a while. Hoping that things that could change may change. All right, let's get some cards. We will start with Tower 3 after we grab his box of goodies. So Tower 3, we need to pull 80 cards. Thank you, Sar. I appreciate it. I'm sorry to ramble so much. It's just like, man, I did not see this coming. And that's the other reason. Had I predicted this better, I would have been more prepared. Everything in life is temporary. It's just the level of temporary it is. The thing is, Cal, the individuals I'm working with are illogical. And as they say, the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. Well, at least we're getting epic cards. Let's see. You know, I do wonder if I should grab the package card at this point. And that's one of the things you have to remember. The market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. And if you're wondering how that applies to this situation, it's exactly that. And it's one of those things, if I had more, if I had more resources, it's easier to address the problem. If I had more resources, there's more optimal answers. But that's the same for all of us, right? You don't have a money problem if you have enough money. Also, it'd be one of those things, if I had enough resources, I could make a very easy take it or leave it offer, and I'd be very comfortable with leaving it, I think. Because your act of rejecting my offer means that, you know, I did all I could, and you can reject it, and you can have whatever ends up happening. You reap what you sow at that point. No, we're going to make sure we get 1 out of 4, because he already lost his wings. Okay, so we did get Tower 3 done. He got his 80 cards. Tower 4! And it was mostly epic cards. There was nothing exciting. Oh, okay. I think we might be on to epic cards for everybody. That's nice. I am happy to see we're trying to finish the cards up. I will say this, even though I know this is temporary, I'm not going to be happy with the resolution that makes it temporary. That's the problem. But, who knows, like, anything can happen at any time. Sometimes people do change their opinions on things, not that I want to give myself false hope for that. Oh, we died. Well, we're just gonna go back to farming. Alright, Tower 5, Sar's favorite tower. Gail is going to be so surprised when she sees this when she wakes up. I'm surprised she's not here. She must be really tired. You could say she's all out of tokens. You like that song? At least I got a laugh out of you, Sar. That is the other important thing, is even though, like, all this is not, like, good news, it's important to not forget your sense of humor in all of this, because there's a humorous side to everything in life. Okay, that's 40 cards. Again, we're just drawing epics at this point. Hey, Justin, how you doing? So I didn't have the best week, Justin, so I decided to stream today. And we're gonna just gamble some cards, and then I think I'm gonna wrap it up and go to bed. I wasn't really feeling it, streaming at the normal time. I had some really, really bad news in my life. Really sad situation. Sad and unfortunate. And it's heartbreaking. To me, anyways, not to them. They're happy to be heartbreaking. And, so I was like, I didn't know that I would feel up to streaming, and I'm like, why don't I just stream and make the best of it, and just talking code about the situation, and, have some fun with it, I guess. Not really having fun with it, but, make the best of it. That's what I'm looking for. I'm more looking to say, make the best of it, because at the end of the day, I can't control it, and I can't change it, and I can't do anything about it, and even though that is very frustrating, all you can do is accept it and let go. Maybe that's exciting, maybe it's not. It's you, Justin. I don't know. It has been a very, cryptic stream, because, I don't want to say too much. Well, I'll tell you this, Justin. Things will turn around. It's just, I don't know when they'll turn around. Like, this situation is not going to go on forever. But I will be really sad when part of the situation is no longer part of the situation. But remember, one dragon a day. What was the other thing I always say? Oh, focus on what you can control and not what you can't control. Okay, two more. I'm actually, the tiredness is really kicking in. No, there will not be a 4 p.m. stream. I did do the tournament. I'll show you. We're sitting at 3rd. I don't know if anybody else... Are you running still? Maybe. So we're sitting at 3rd. If I get 3rd, this is a very generous bracket for me. Which is great. Those are the kind of brackets I like. Wait, are we going to? Oops. 2 more, okay. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, make sure that's 6. Sorry, the tiredness is definitely hitting me now. Damn! Justin, that sucks. I haven't even cooked that hard, but I definitely have noticed the brackets have increased in difficulty. Like, a lot. Alright, did we get it? Yes, we got it. Okay, excellent. And now, I want to see if I can get this for this tower. Tower 6! No, I cannot. That's fine. We'll get it we'll get it next time. At least we were able to get our cards done for the event. That's what really matters. Let me put this back. I will say this, for as dire as the situation sounds, and it is pretty... dire is the wrong word, but serious, probably. As serious as the situation sounds... the more I sleep on it, the less and less I care. Which is why I'm excited to go to Dreamland. But yeah, guys, so... if you missed it, here's my rank. Sorry it was sort of short, but, you know, sometimes I need to take a knee. Sometimes I need to take a knee. We should be back on our regular schedule next week, so everything should be back in order next week. I will let you guys know I am going to have to do a Tuesday stream, February the 10th. And, so there's going to be a Tuesday stream there. But for the rest of the time, it looks like we will be back to our regular schedule unless something crazy goes down. So guys, once again, as always, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to support the channel. And if you have any questions, feel free to say something in the comments. I do always look forward to your questions. And as always, thank you again. And I hope you have a great night. Good night, everybody, and good morning, other hemisphere. Good night. Not hemisphere. I meant good morning to the people to the east.